You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 248th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. This is Tim in Orlando, Florida.
And this is Spencer in Boston, Massachusetts. Tim, we got a different vibe this morning.
Yeah. I'm bringing my A game, though. I'm not going to lie. But I do need to start with some disappointment.
Uh-oh. Let me hear it.
Like, I was pretty ready for, get the creative mojo running here in the morning and wake up to see Team Sky release their temporary kit for the Tour de Romandie.
Right.
And man,
it's just a gut punch, huh?
Yeah, like I know it's temporary and they can say that all they want, but wow.
I mean, it's
welcome
burned,
to sponsorship, Ineos.
Yeah, it's burned in my brain, so I don't know if it's going to be temporary or not. And that's not the thing I needed first thing in the morning here. Now, normally we record in the evenings, and this is a special one-off morning episode for us, so you might hear a little more cheer, a little more, pep in our step. But that really brought me down a peg. Yeah,
this brought me down. Now, a friend of the podcast and one of our UK correspondents, Michael, out there in the United Kingdom, was telling us that the big debut was going to happen obviously at Yorkshire. It was like when the plan was going to happen, the Tour de Yorkshire, which is also hosting the World Championships in September. But the hubbub there, of course, is that there's going to be massive protests on the side of the road, apparently, right? Because of the whole fracking and questionable business practices of Ineos and tax practices of living, offshore. Now, I think that this is almost, not as bad of a travesty as fracking, but this is pretty bad. This kid is disgusting.
It is a travesty. I guess I didn't know what the Ineos logo looked like until I saw these kits this morning, and this is the temporary version that they've released today, and it's essentially this Sky kit with Team Sky replaced with the Ineos logo. And you know how when you're trolling eBay and you see those pro team jerseys that are like $10 for some reason, brand new, $10.
Yeah.
And the quality is certainly suspect. You can't zoom in too much on those pictures because they get too pixelated, because that's how the actual jersey looks.
Pinarello is spelled with one L.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This
is what this kit looks like. It looks like it might have fell off the truck.
Well, Ineos, whatever.
That is
the
idea.
ugliest logo of all time.
It's extremely bad. Yeah,
it's like straight out of a Bond villain, company name.
Yeah,
right.
I think the rule of thumb that I've heard from graphic designers is you just don't want to use ideally more than one font, but definitely not more than two fonts in your advertisement. If you're laying out something for print. This logo, this name is 5 letters long, and I think it's got 3 fonts in there, as best I can tell.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
We were warned by it. Like I said, Michael Stone hit us up and let us know this was coming. And
I wasn't ready.
Yeah. So, but Spencer, I do have a little bit of reason to be excited.
Okay, I need to pick me up. I've had 2 cups of full Schleck, and this kid has brought me down so far that it's not helping.
I'm going to do a little bit of a swerve. I know a lot of people look for us for our road bike expertise, but man, was it a relief that I didn't have to watch Liège-Bastogne-Liège live, because I could watch UCI mountain bike downhill World Cup on Red Bull TV. And it was awesome.
It was awesome. I caught the men's race, I was not up early enough here in Eastern Standard Time. I know folks in California will say that would be wonderful to be able to get up at 7 a.m. to watch it, but that wasn't going to be me on Sunday. But I did catch the end of the men's race. How'd the women's race go, Tim?
Well, that's the one that I watched most of.
Okay,
right?
Perfect.
Couple things. Tawny Seagrave won.
Wait, you didn't say Rachel Atherton.
I know. And I know that I was like, oh, I guarantee that, Rachel Atherton was like less than a second behind Tawny Seagrave.
Okay.
But there's a lot to discuss here. One is Tawny Seagrave showed up with a new kit, and it's all pink. It was like a Fox Racing kit.
Okay.
Pink.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
I'll have to
it's
look.
It's a subtle pink. It's not like a hot pink. So
I've not been known. I've not known the mountain bike world to do things subtle, Tim. Are you sure?
It's a very good kit.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Let me Google this up.
Clearly, I'm a fan of Rachel Atherton, who looks resplendent in the rainbow jersey, which is still hands down the best kit of all time if you just have a rainbow jersey anyway. And but anyways, the all pink kit from Tawny Seagrave, maybe it gave an extra second of speed. I'm a fan of pink kits, as you know. This is not like random Tim here coming up with this. But that race was pretty awesome. Third place was Tracy Hanna, about 2.5 seconds down. The women's racing was awesome as usual. I like it because it's so hyper competitive at the top. Mm-hmm. Not that the men's racing isn't, because that came down to even less of a margin of victory. But everybody should go check it out. redbull.tv, the women's downhill racing. They have 15 runners, so like they kind of only showed about the top 7 or 8 go. The rock garden at this course in Maribor, Slovenia, was insane.
It was brutal. The thing about downhill is the racing is exciting. It's easy to understand, even if you don't know anything about mountain bike racing and never watched it before, as I had, 2 years ago or whatever. Never really paid any attention. You just look at these features like this and you say, well, that's not rideable. It isn't rideable. And then you see the first few runs go down and you're like, okay, wow, I am floored by that it's even rideable. And then when they get to the top end of riders, the fastest riders, it's just jaw dropping how fast they can ride things that just do not seem possible.
So what Red Bull does that's really good is they do the track walks also, right? So they had G Atherton going down with Claudio giving some critiques, and they showed the rock garden and just the elevation change and where the lines were. Yeah, it was really cool to see. It's pure racing. Like, I could never do this. I'll never do this. I would break so many bones if I ever tried this. But it's pure speed and awesomeness that everyone should watch it. Because anyways, ton of fun. The men's race, I watched at night, so I was kind of like sleeping in and out, to be honest. But Luca Luic Bruni took the win over Danny Hart and Troy Brosnan. Now, that was fun to watch, but there was a crash that happened that and then I don't even remember who the rider was, because I woke up out of a stupor when I hear the announcer just like, oh, he's down, and then you see the replay, and I'm like, how did you even get up and walk away from this and then still finish the run? Yeah.
Is this the guy who face planted himself into the roots?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was rugged. I was good. The Red Bull TV coverage is super good. I saw something new. Now, you mentioned the track walk with G Atherton. I saw something new on the Red Bull channel that I don't remember from last year at all. That was extremely good. And I don't know if they're going to do it every week or not, but they had kind of an inside the training day. Like, I think it was the Thursday or Friday when everyone's up there doing runs. Okay. And it was hosted by this guy, Elliot Jackson, who I was unfamiliar with. And he basically went and talked to all the athletes and then did a track walk of his own, but like kind of stopped at different sections where all the pros were like stopping and deciding what lines they were going to ride.
Okay.
And would talk to them and be like, what are you thinking about? What are you looking at? Like, and really, really explaining some of this stuff. And it was really helpful. Like, it was really cool. It was what I, as a person who doesn't know much about downhill racing, it was exactly what I wanted to get from a behind the scenes look. It was even better than just watching a first person footage of somebody going down the track and kind of hearing a commentary. Oh, this is a Rudy section. Oh, stay left. Like it was the pros themselves being like, well, I'm looking at this left line. I'm looking at this right line and it might rain on Sunday. So I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And these are what the things that I'm weighing right now. It was cool. It was really good.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I think it was called The Chatter or something like that.
I don't remember, but it was very good.
Now we got about a month till the next round up in Fort William, Scotland on June 2nd. So plenty of time to check this out on redbull.tv. But that was a lot of fun. And Spencer, I alluded to it when I first made the swerve onto Downhill Street.
Yeah.
And that was that I didn't watch Bastogne-Liège live.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it through my Twitter feed. Because, to be honest, I was like, I'm kind of done. I watched Flèche Wallonne last Wednesday. And then I'm like, oh man, I need a little bit of a break before the most important race in the world starts, Tour of California.
Okay. Okay. Tour of California is an important race. I know you like to make fun of it. It's a fantastic race. We're going to argue about this later. But I had a realization. I did watch LBL live the last, 30 or 40K. I didn't turn it on for a while. I was ready to go. I had the opportunity to, but I was just like, I don't need to see anything but the end. I thought Flèche Wallonne, I've always overlooked that race as being like a midweek race and whatever. Nobody cares about it. It's boring. And I've always kind of paid attention to Liège because it's a monument. I think I might be wrong. I think Liège might be the most boring race on the World Tour calendar, and certainly the most boring monument.
It's not the most boring race on the World Tour calendar because there was rain and it was exciting, and Fulsang put my heart through my throat when I watched the replays. Uh-huh. Even I knew his almost crash was gonna come up, but then when I saw it live, I was like, oh my, how did he save that? Yeah. So that saved the race. But Flèche Wallonne, Spencer, is far more boring than Liège. That race was horribly boring. Basically, let's all wait for the last time up the Muir, and then Valverde swallows a bee to ruin his chances of victory. I was a little. Come on, let's not parse the. Liège is at least a monument for a reason.
Swallows a bee might be the most creative excuse I've ever heard for just being bad this season. That
has he really been bad though? He's had a bunch of top tens. He's not that bad. in kind of the training races, sure, but nothing important. He had a top 10 at Catalunya. Come on, man. Do not start throwing shade at Valverde. Because here's the thing. Is that we don't have very many years left with Valverde, right? We got to embrace what he's bringing to us.
We're literally at -5 or 6 right now. She should have been gone a long time ago.
Okay.
I know he's been good all these years, and he's like a robot at this point. But I think we are beyond what is needed for us to sustain as a cycling society as far as Valverde is concerned.
All right. Well, let's go to the men's race of Flèche Wallonne first.
Okay.
Right? So Julian Alaphilippe wins on the final climb up. Basically, it was the most boring death march of all time.
It was a 2-man hill climb time trial. Yeah.
And then Alaphilippe, what do you know? Surprise, beats Jakob Fulsang for the victory. These are the same two that if you listen to the Crosshairs Radio podcast I did with Bill Schleichen, they got some pretty hefty slices of blame pie for letting Mathieu van der Poel win. Now, great win by Alaphilippe. Whatever. Fulsang, great job, buddy. Michael Matthews in 8th, 16th place. Michael Kwiatkowski.
Lovely.
Great to see. Valverde in 11th place, just outside top 10. But very slow, boring. You could have turned that race on in the last 2 kilometers and basically saw what was important about it.
You know what's funny? You say that is I didn't catch that one live, so I watched the highlights, quote unquote highlights on NBC Sports Gold. The highlights were literally from the bottom of the mirror to the top. That was it. So apparently nothing else happened in that race at all. So maybe I can walk back that Liège is the most boring, but
well, no, I'm not going to let you.
That's some damning evidence right there.
And then on the women's side, we unfortunately were unable to watch the women's race live to the ASO's wisdom. So they gave us a highlights package. In it, you would have seen that Anna van der Breggen won by a second over Annemiek van Vleuten and Anneke Langveld in third place. So a Boels Dolmans 1-3 and Mitchelton Scott in second. Now, like I said, we don't have much to go on here because, unfortunately, we weren't able to see the whole race live. But Anna van der Breggen, Annemiek van Vleuten give kind of a little bit of a taste of what's happening, of course, yesterday at the women's Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which once again we weren't able to see. But Annemiek van Vleuten takes the win, so she had a pretty good Ardennes session. Season,
She did.
So
she went long in this one, yeah?
Yeah, she did, but she won by like over a minute and a half. But here's the thing. I mean, we'll need Abby Mickey on. We need our professional cyclist to actually tell us where we are wrong. But I still think Annemiek van Vleuten is the best women's racer in the world right now.
That could be.
I don't think there might be some debate, but if I had to put my internet reputation on betting, I would put on Annemiek van Vleuten. Yeah. So I can do that over at Roller Derby.
Yeah, you can. That's a good place to put your internet reputation on the line if you haven't already. I gotta say, I want to give a special shout out quick to Anneke Langveld, who's been having a fantastic road debut as a mountain biker.
Yeah. Didn't she just win over at like Sea Otter?
Yeah, she did, and she's crushing. She hasn't won anything on the road, but she is right up there. Top 10s all over the place, top 5s, top 3s. That's impressive to just walk in to the top level of the sport and perform. We haven't seen this since Matthew Van Der Poel.
So long ago.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, it was only the third time that there's been a women's Liège-Bastogne-Liège, so hopefully we can see some increased coverage from ASO. Yeah. Cecily Ludwig, another top 10, a good season for her as the classic seasons wind down. And then, Spencer, let's get right into it. This is leading into a little bit of a lull in our excitement. I mean, yeah, there's things on the calendar, right? There's Roman D, but without little guy here, we're not going to really care about it that much. That's when we used to really rely on you, Matt. So come back and tell us why we need to care about these races. But what's coming up down the corner, of course, is Tour of California. And Spencer, I don't want to watch it. I mean, I can't even feign excitement for you. I'll watch the women's race. But
there's a few things.
I'll watch the Giro. Tour of California. Get off the schedule. That is the Giro's time of year. Go back to your February date. Go back to right now. This is the week they should be having it.
February is preseason time, and the reason they shouldn't have it now, like during our Ardennes week, is because the stars of our Ardennes week are who would excel at the Tour of California. It's a 1 week stage race. It's just got a bunch of punchy climbs, and if Michael Woods,
this weekend,
if the VO2 max of Michael Woods, gets you hot and bothered, Tour of California is your jam. It's not 3 weeks of waiting for the last stage, like the Giro and the Tour turn out to be. I don't know. Ever since the birth of Julian Alaphilippe to the scene, when he went toe to toe with Peter Sagan for the victory, day after day at Tour of California a few years back, I have been a big fan of this race.
Maybe one of the reasons I don't like it is the coverage, because it's on I mean, I know they created Tour Tracker. It was the first time I ever experienced Tour Tracker, and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. But then I remember when it first started, I would watch on, what was it, Versus or NBC Sports Network? I don't know. Maybe it was OLN.
Probably.
It's been around for a while. 2006, 2007 maybe. But here's the thing. Is that the coverage, it had so many damn commercials all the time that then I never wanted to watch it.
It's highly Americanized,
it's so bad. And the commercials just really, like, I can only watch so many Clean Bottle and Racer ID commercials. Like, they're great companies, like, fantastic.
Yeah.
But man, can't they sell better advertisements? I mean, this race has been going on for 14 years. I'm just a little.
Well,
I want it to do well. It's great to see, but man, put it during the Giro, and then also the Americanized version of it is so annoying.
What another thing that I can appreciate about this race is the time slot for us Americans. So much
being
easier
on the East Coast.
So much easier. Yeah.
But I used to set like my DVR to just anything that said cycling in it. It would record, right? So I would get everything from reruns of Pacific Blue to Quicksilver to wow, it's the coverage of Tour of California. The amount of times I even watched that on my DVR when I would like come home from work or whatever were very small. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
No. Well,
I know it's bad, but
it started with a very bad reputation, and it was, to be frank, a terrible race.
They didn't let rock racing in. I'll be honest. That's why I didn't want to watch it. They didn't let rock racing happen. And then I was like, you know what? Rock racing brings the party. That's what I want to see in a race.
Sure. They had bad courses. They had bad. It was built for Levi Leipheimer kind of thing for the first few years, and I think they've figured it out.
So I should give it another shot?
I think that the race has gotten more intelligent along with the general population, not us super fans of cycling and all our listeners who are obviously super fans, but like the general population, the gen pop of cycling fandom has gotten better educated about bike racing, and they don't need this dumbed down version anymore that the Tour of California came out as. And it's a pretty good race. And can we look forward to another Tom Schoon's crazy dance?
I hope so. Like, Tom Schoon's maybe what's saving it. And then on the women's side, I am excited for, as they're growing the women's race to make it more equal, hopefully, across the board in the long run. So I'm very excited about that. So I'll give you this. I'm willing to give it a shot. But let me give you Spencer, the podium of the inaugural 2006 Tour of California.
Oh, no.
Third place, Bobby Julich.
Yeah.
All right.
Just like his Tour de France in 1998. Yeah.
A lot of people forget about that.
Yeah.
Second place, Dave Zabriskie.
Okay. Yeah.
First place, Floyd Landis.
Oh.
And you're like, all right, that's actually not that bad of a podium, right?
2006.
I'm like 2006.
Hey, you won the Tour that year.
And Landis. Yeah, that's right. He did.
So that's a huge, that was obviously, his calling card. He was calling his shot then.
So then the next three editions were won by Levi Leipheimer.
Yeah. I'm not defending the Tour of California as a whole.
Let's get rid
That's
of Levi
impossible.
Leipheimer. Okay. So maybe in 2010 it changed with Michael Rogers winning. You're like, all right, Michael Rogers, I kind of enjoyed that guy. He was always a good time trialist, And then who's this?
You're just playing to our Aussie corner now.
Who wins in 2011? Chris Horner. Hero of the podcast.
America's favorite
most popular cyclist. Yeah. And then, is he still racing?
Oh, he's got to be. The ghost of Chris Horner will always be at the Tour of California. That's
he's on
for
Team
sure.
Illuminate. So he is registered on a Continental team right now. Okay, so you got Chris Horner. Then you got Robert Gesink in 2012. TJ Van Garderen wins in 2013. And then I would say, so what do you think? 2013 is when it changes for the better because you got TJ to win. And then 14, you got Wiggins, 15, Sagan, 16, Alaphilippe, George Bennett in 17, and then Egan Bernal last year. So
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe-
when it caught my attention as just a really good race, like that they had figured out the stages and made for an exciting event, was when Alaphilippe won. Or maybe the year before when Sagan won, but he was up against Alaphilippe. I forget. But I think if we're being honest, if you push it back a little bit to the TJ Van Garderen win is probably when they got it together.
Okay. And speaking of Sagan, kind of a...
I'm wondering where you're going with this, because there's been no news about Sagan whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying.
He has not been in the press. He is nowhere to be seen. There's
not a very good spring season for him.
No, not even any funny tweets or anything. Like just really low key Sagan.
It's like the Grease sequel, just not as good as the first. I mean, I'm just a little. I mean,
do you think he's depressed? Do you think losing the world championship stripes has him down in the dumps?
No, I don't think he's gotten over it, because right now he's still believing he's the world champion by what his jersey looks like. And we've talked about this. I still can't believe the UCI has allowed this monstrosity of a national champion's jersey. It's easily confused with the world championship jersey.
Well, yeah, the stripes. The stripes on the arms are all you can see when he's riding, and those are just world champion stripes.
Yeah.
The chest looks enough like it. Yeah.
I am a little curious, Spencer. I think that he's going to come out and slay it at the tour. It's kind of like Dr. Dre's second album, in 2000.
He's storing it up.
He came back and it was really hot. So I still think Sagan, he is not done by any means. But this spring season isn't exactly
sure.
And, the greatest thing in the world.
If the tour or the rest of the year is going to be Sagan's 2000 album, who is his Eminem?
Who's his Eminem?
Yeah. Is it going to be Sam Bennett? Is it going to be Maximilian Schallman? Is it going to be...
Schallman's looking pretty good right now.
Is it going to be Juric? Who is going to pull him back from the doldrums? Davide Formolo, who got second at Liège-Bastogne-Liège this week?
Might be pretty good. I don't know. Well... All right, and then the final part of the spring season that we need to talk about is friend of the podcast, Michael Matthews, looking pretty good there at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Spencer, did you have a chance to see Michael Matthews racing?
Oh, my God. I have so much to say about him, and let me just get started with...
This is Abby Mickey from Rally UHC Professional Cycling Team, and you're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
All right, Spencer, we have arrived at the Prem Lap here on the Slow Ride Podcast. First, we want to give a shout out to all the members and supporters of the Wide Angle Podium Network. Head on over to wideanglepodium.com to find out more. Existing members or those that are looking to sign up, you can choose and redistribute how you want to donate your hard-earned money in support of the Slow Ride Podcast. Roller Derby, Bike Shop CX, Cyclocross Radio, Consummate Athlete, so many great shows on the network. So head on over and whatever you decide to do, it goes directly to the member shows of the Wide Angle Podium Network.
Yeah, exactly. If you're listening to more shows than you used to, if you're new to the Slow Ride but have been a donor to the network in the past and want to include us, you can do that. You can always update your sport, or you can add roller derby if that's a thing you're into now, so on and so forth. Another way to support directly the shows on Wide Angle Podium Network is to head on over to Grimpeur Bros and check out the full Schleck brand of coffee, or the Hello Cyclocross Friends espresso blend, because both of those things directly support the network and the shows here, and they are delicious. And I gotta say, this morning show, it's kind of a weird new thing. I don't know if we'll do it again or not, but having some full Schleck with me, kind of keeping me company here.
It's made it a little bit easier.
It's made it a lot easier, I gotta say. It's like having a warm friend with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I really haven't experienced that before on this show.
So head on over to wideanglepodium.com/coffee to find your own warm friend and support this various podcasts on the network through your purchase of Grimpeur Brothers coffee.
And
I'd also like to. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I'll take this one, Tim. I'll take this one for the team since I I feel like you might need a little recovery from that last comment, which I apologize for. We are also supported by Health IQ. Health IQ is a life insurance company that celebrates the health conscious, including cyclists. You can visit healthiq.com/WAP to learn more, get a free quote. Check out their FAQ page if you have questions about why you need life insurance or what exactly it is. But long story short, they advocate for health conscious people, for cyclists, for people that are taking care of themselves. And they don't think you should spend as much money on things like life insurance if you are actively taking care of yourself. And that is something we agree with here. So if you want to check out their rates and see what you can do, go check out the Health IQ quiz, healthiq.com/WAP. See if you can score elite on that, save yourself some money, upload your miles and on all that stuff, and save even more. See what they can do for you over at Health IQ.
That's right. And let's get back to the show.
This is Mitch Stocker, and you're listening to the Slow Ride Pod.
All right, Spencer, we got some emails that came into the Slow Ride Podcast at gmail.com. I think we should burn off a few of these.
Okay.
Let's get right into it. First, a shout out to Robert Strickland, who went all the way to Boston, Spencer, to run the Boston Marathon. And he wanted to let us know that he was able to watch Paris-Roubaix while at the Marathon Expo.
Amazing.
Now, Spencer, do you live anywhere near the course of the Boston Marathon?
Fairly close. We're about maybe 2 miles away, yeah.
Do you go watch it?
I have in the past. I did not this year.
Now, it's a pretty big event there, enough that they shut down the city for the day, right? Isn't it like a holiday in Boston?
Yeah, it's one of those weird kind of New England holidays where nobody's ever heard of it before if you're from another part of the country, as I am. I came here and everybody was talking about Patriots Day and getting a day off from work, and I was just like, no, that's Monday. I don't know what you're talking about, but it is a thing here, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any plans to ever do the Boston Marathon?
You know, the first time I watched the marathon, I watched the coverage of it on online, and it was such a good finish that year. I don't remember who won or anything, but there was like some drafting and some tactics and a couple little testing attacks, and then a big, all-out sprint around the corner to the finishing straight. And it reminded me of a bike race in so many ways that I was like, I need to do this some year. Like some year, I just want to do this. And then I ran, I don't know, like a half mile, like a couple weeks later, and was like, oh man, I can't do this. Are you kidding me?
I once, I did the half marathon here in Orlando, and you guys really busted my chops about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I did a pretty good time. I was pretty thrilled with my time. And then I went to see what the Boston qualifying times were, and I was like, whoa, yeah, that's never going to happen. And then I closed the window on the internet. I was like, all right.
Yeah, it is serious business. It's a pretty legit field, and I think it's pretty cool that it happens right here in town.
Now, Spencer, we are known for our advice, so it's only natural that Ryan Crispin emails us, says, in need of advice, dear Slow Rod. I am in need. I have come to a crossroads of sorts. I have been a proud owner of a 2011 Trek 520 for roughly 10 months. I acquired the bike to be my everyday commuter, and she has served me well. Steel is real. I've put close to 800 miles on this bike, but recently my mind has been drifting elsewhere. I've been noticing other bikes around town, and I'm starting to feel things for these bikes that I used to feel for my 520. All this is to say the passion just isn't there anymore between me and the 520, and I'm considering selling. I know this puts a wrench in my plans to attend the Slow Ride bike packing extravaganza, which will be in hopefully May of 2020. With all this in mind, I need you guys to tell me what needs to be said to sell this bike. Important details. Fenders included. There's a thermometer top cap.
Love
You
it.
can pretty much see the rest in this picture. I will describe it. Bar end shifters. We have a brown color motif. Nice kind of rust browned frame color going to brown hood covers and kind of brown leather bar tape.
Okay, yeah, classic.
So Spencer, we need to sell this bike for Ryan. So how are we going to write up this Craigslist ad to sell this bike?
Okay, so this one you're going to want to appeal to the millennials. They classically are not as interested in acquiring things, but this is exactly the target audience for this bike. So you need to get over that hurdle. You need to get them on board with this, and that's by selling them the experience. You're not gonna talk tech to them. You're not gonna say disc brakes. You're not gonna whatever. You can mention the fenders. I think that's an important part. But this bike looks good. Trek did a good job laying it out. It's a quality bike. We know that. You can tell from looking at it. But what you wanna do is really immerse yourself in the experience. You want to say, have you ever thought about bike packing? Maybe as your lead, as the headline, rather than Trek, blah blah blah.
Like something along the lines of like escape from the
Right.
the urban jungle with the ultimate getaway machine.
Yep. Sell your car, buy this bike, something like that.
Because this thing can do it all. I mean, that's what this bike is. Now, I think he does definitely also need to hit on the steel is real when describing the experience of riding this bike. This is an experiential bike. So the experience of being free, maybe link that article that was recently published in the Minneapolis Star Tribune about how bike commuters are happier
Yes.
than car commuters, because this is the bike. This bike will put a smile on your face. Sell
Yeah.
your car, actually, to buy this bike.
Yeah, that's literally what I just said.
Yeah. So this is it. So you got a headline?
I think that's what you lead with is sell your Versa, purchase this Trek.
Wait, you think a millennial's driving a Versa? Come on. The millennial's driving like a Nissan Cube. And then
Yeah.
this is what they need to buy.
Probably. It's true.
Anyways.
But stop. How about this? Save money. Save the money you're spending on Uber. Buy this bike.
Oh, there you go. It is the Uber of bikes.
Yeah. And now you say, get yourself to work, get yourself to the grocery store, get yourself out of the urban jungle on the weekends. Pack a tent, cruise out of town, into the woods, experience nature, build memories with this bike. This bike, so you're saying Trek, brown, these grips, these brakes, experience life.
Well, and then
And you
seat
pepper
roll
that stuff in
included.
there. Yeah,
Like,
seat roll included. Includes fenders and memories for a lifetime.
Oh, there you go. Sold. I might even buy it myself.
Yeah.
Jurgen Quick emails us. Subject line pronunciation.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this is going to
Oh,
be
we
good.
hate these. These are bad.
Hi, guys. Firstly, greetings from Netherlands. Love your pod and keep up the good work. Whew. Man,
Dodging bullets here.
Dodging-
This is
Jurgen,
going a lot
hard to
better
come
than
in.
I thought. Yeah.
love you already, Jurgen. But, and this is a big but, your
Uh-oh.
pronunciation of non-English names is absolutely terrible, up to a degree that I'm sometimes wondering who or what the hell you're talking about. Make an effort, please. For example, Matthew Vanderpool. In the poll, the OE is pronounced like the one in shoe. So it's Matthew Vanderpool.
Pool.
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 Kiwakowski is a Pole and not an American as the Big Lebowski. Wow.
And he never will be.
Lars Boom is pronounced with a very long ooh, as in bore, for, phone, and not as in the boom, 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 and so on. So that's Lars Bohm? Lars Bohm?
Speaking of Lars, he was up here doing a gravel race in Vermont
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that gravel race. It's Rasputina?
Yeah,
And
something
it
like
looked
that.
really, really muddy.
It looked terrible.
I know a friend of the pod, Derek Lewis, wanted us to go up to it last year, and we were
Yes.
like, it sounds great. Man, did I see the weather report and was really happy I didn't go.
Yeah, it's true. Everybody here is always very excited about that, and then it's always atrocious. So.
How did Lars Bohm do at the gravel race? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but he didn't win.
Oh, he didn't. Do you know who won?
Probably Vanderpool, but I'm not sure.
Can't remember how you said Schoutman, but it was quite funny. Anyway, don't take it too personal.
We don't.
You're good.
Nothing on this show is taken very personal, and I'm sure Tim will blame all of his pronunciations on the fact that he had a stroke, because now he has the excuse of lifetime forever.
Yeah, and I was in like speech therapy class in 7th and 8th grade. Not that that's an excuse, because that was over 22 years ago. But
I don't have any of those excuses. I just am a uncultured American, like most of us, and we do not have kind of that fine-honed point on our pedigree. So thanks for the tips. We'll try and work those in, but probably not.
well, if you ever have any questions, make sure you let us know. Head on over to the slowridepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting all the emails. We've got great emails from Michael Stone, as mentioned earlier, about Tour Yorkshire. We've got that Brian. We alluded to it real quick. I just want to mention this, that at the end of the pod last week, on the Sea Otter guide, there was when you get the Sea Otter guide, it tells you all the events that are happening at Sea Otter. The page 1, page 2 double-sided advertisement when you opened it up was for those smart sunglasses or whatever. I think they're the Raptor. I don't even know what they are. Something where it's like a heads-up display. You look like Geordi from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And in there, when I first opened it up, I was like, that guy looks familiar. And then I look a little bit closer, and they're wearing a Hincapie Gran Fondo jersey. And I'm like, no. And then it was George, and we got the same exact email from Brian Hancock, where it was just subject line, "Is that you, George?" As I was flipping through the pages of the most recent Seattle Festival Guide, much to my surprise, on the very first page of the Sea Otter Guide, I found the advertisement for Raptor sunglasses. This included images of a strong mix of the traditional wraparound look and that oh-so-crazy now with a forward-sloping brow area of George Hincapie.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, man. Yeah, there it is. So I wasn't the only one that saw it, because I laughed out loud when I saw it. I was like, come on, George, really? Heads-up sunglasses? You are the guy. You are the Oakley jawbone of cycling eyewear.
He really is. I feel like he put those on the map, even though there's probably somebody else, from Oakley. But, that's, I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever.
Well, Spencer, you hit me up with something a little bit earlier this week. You sent me an email to ask me if Full Sail University was in Orlando.
I did. I need to know about this. I need to know if you have any ins, because I'm thinking I got a kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, Tim. Okay. And I saw. Now, I'm not going to be the first on the ground with this idea. Unfortunately, Canyon has beat me to the punch here. But I'm thinking I could go bigger and better than Canyon. Canyon launched their e-racing team this week. A Zwift-based Canyon-sponsored racing team. And I'm excited to see where that goes. But I've got an even better idea.
Yeah.
Full Sail in Orlando. You're going to need to fill in some of these details, because I'm just the idea guy, right? I'm not the execution guy. So Full Sail has built a huge complex, or is building a huge complex for esports specifically, and we need to get in on this. You're on the ground there. I'm going to build the team. How can we dominate the world of online cycling?
Now, Full Sail it's kind of At first, when I moved here, I was like, "Oh, Full Sail! It's going to be like one of those." Remember in downtown Minneapolis, like the production and recording university on North Wash.
Yeah, kind of the if you've got money and you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life, and you'd like to waste some of your time and money, you can do it here.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was called IPR or something. Like,
Yeah.
right? And then
That's like
and so
art
you'd
school.
always- yeah, exactly. Full Sail, I thought was going to be like that, and then I went over there a couple of times. It's just in Winter Park, but they actually they make a ton of like. There's a lot of jobs that come out of there. Like if you graduate from there, you're going to get a job in usually down at the theme parks. You get a job in WWE has their like kind of all their film people come out of there, and now they put all this money into this like e-gaming arena
Yeah.
that they've built, which is going to be the home of the Slow Ride Podcast digital cycling team
Yes.
that you're busy getting. Now we're going to need some sponsors to make this happen,
Ah.
but the arena is here. Like we should challenge Team Canyon to come to our turf to take us on at here in Orlando.
I don't know how much sponsorship we really need. I mean, we just need a kit, right? Like that's
We
about
need a
it.
digital kit, right? Like we need to find a way to get Zwift to put it on.
We do.
That's where I'm a little curious as to what the end game is here for Canyon, because while how awesome it is that they have a digital racing team, how are you going to know that someone isn't lined up with a Pinarello on their trainer if it's just an avatar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have seen some of these racers that do the e-racing, and they have quite the setup with multiple cameras and heart rate straps and all
Right.
that,
Right.
excitement. But
Yeah, a lot of on-screen graphics, a lot of immersive technology, and like you said, a lot of camera angles, so we can see them suffering, head on and from the side and all that. So I'm thinking product placement. I'm thinking our team is not maybe, let's be honest, probably not going to compete on results as much as we are. We're going to win the marketing game. So I'm thinking, what's that Red Bull can in the background? Oh, that's product placement.
that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking more about the fact that we should be the ones that are on Zwift during the races that, like, we get dropped from the race, but we just wait for them to come back around for the second lap, and then we jump back in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we just claim that there was a glitch.
Well, it's not that different than real racing and crits and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think we'd have a leg up there. But no, I'm thinking product placements, Tim. I'm thinking sponsorships. You want your poster on the wall in the background from your brand or your team or just your face. I don't care. Like everything is for sale here.
So
The water bottles are for sale. I will market anything. It's like Spaceballs, the toilet paper. But also,
go ahead.
I think there's an in for us here in the cycling world as the first digital racing commentary team.
Oh God, people would really love our pronunciations.
Oh,
I think we could crush it though, because I got to give it up to Canyon, right? Like, okay, let me give you an example of what I would say in some digital commentary.
okay. I'm ready.
Right. So everyone's there racing, and the Canyon folks show up from their e-racing team.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say, Canyon's support is really out of the box thinking.
Oh,
What do you think? Good?
I like that.
Yeah.
Can you
See,
bring that heat week after week, though?
I think I could.
Okay.
I could probably come up with quite a, wow. I hope that they got their torque specs right.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh yeah, I could totally bring it.
Here's the thing: in digital racing, do you think they're going to show up like all in a bunch? Like, are they going to
That's what
look
I'm curious about.
like?
Do they have a team car?
Yeah, are they going to be like the Italian team in Breaking Away, and they're going to just be all together, like, let's just like sticking pumps in people's spokes, like when they need to, digitally, of course.
I don't know. Do you think that there's a wave button on Zwift, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like, are they pressing that? Do they have an assistant that presses it for them?
I should hope so. I mean, you should always wave at all your fellow cyclists, even in the digital world. So I mean, my big thing on Zwift is every time I do a workout, there's a button you can hit where your guy says "nice," And I try to do that at 6.9 miles into each ride. Sometimes I forget, but
Yeah, nice.
I think I'm the only one who gets it.
Yeah, it's good. Well, Spencer, I think we do have a future as a digital sports commentary team. Oh, well, Spencer, once again, we absolutely slayed it. We're looking forward to upcoming weeks of the Slow Ride podcast, where we have many special guests to join us as we talk about the world of professional e-cycling, downhill racing, road racing. Join us along the way. And with that, I'd like to thank Health IQ for their continued support. Find out how to save some money on your life insurance by being a healthy individual. Head on over to healthiq.com/WAP. We'd also like to thank Grimpeur Bros for their continued support. You can get the full Schleck blend or Hello Cyclocross espresso blend over at wideanglepodium.com/coffee. And all of the continuing support from our members and subscribers of the Wide Angle Podium Network. Head on over to wideanglepodium.com to find out more. This is Tim in Orlando.
And this is Spencer in Boston, reminding you to always wave at all your fellow cyclists that you see out on the road or the digital road.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.